Hey guys, this is my last video I am doing for my 1,000 subscriber special, and I just want to say before anything, thank y'all all so much. For the past 3 years I've been doing this, and I just can't believe this is all real, that this is happening. I haven't really been doing the best mentally recently, but this stuff really gets me through it, and I can't thank y'all enough for enjoying what I make. Anyway, this video is about my non-pony OCs. If you want to learn more about my pony OCs, please watch this video instead. I have way more OCs than I will mention here, and some in the works that you'll see later, but I wanted to touch on the main ones since with my pony project I'm working on, I won't really be able to make much content for them for a while, which is totally fine with me because they won't leave my head anyway, so I'm never gonna not think about them. I wanted to give them a sort of send-off, sort of explanation at least, since I was very vague with basically any information about them when I introduced them, and I apologize. I will also discuss my turkey OC here, but obviously he's not going to be sent off or anything. He'll always be here. And with you, in your hearts. He exists forever. Amen. Also, I'm starting with him. Isn't this so cool? Wow. Yeah. Also, this video will not have intense editing as I spent most of the time on scripting and drawing the characters. So enjoy some speed paints. Woo, transition! Oh my gosh, transition! Ah! The turkey character you sometimes see in my videos, or like throughout all my branding, is Thomas. Thomas the turkey. He's not really a representation of myself, but more of a mascot for the channel. If you're wondering, this cat creature represents me a bit better. Her name, my name, is Turkey. Is this confusing? Yeah, but this has just been how it's been. Thomas the turkey is just your regular turkey. That would be, about middle ages in turkey years, though, he can never age or die. That's just something cool about him. I figured you want to know. He has a wife based on an ocellated turkey, which they are really cool. You should research them. You should look at them. And a child based on a meat turkey, and he loves both of them dearly. They are birds in a mammalian-run society that is close to the human world. Sorry to drop that all on you all of a sudden, but I don't really know how else to do it, so just like Pictures Utopia or Sing, but without the height differences. This is the world where my other OCs are in, by the way. These are basically just furries. This is a furry-run society. Most of the stuff in it is like the same as the human world, so wow, I really, we'll just, you know, we'll get to that later. Anyways, these birds cannot talk to mammals or have a job or anything except Thomas. Him and I have a sort of symbiotic relationship like that. I feed him food so he can be in my videos, and he pretends to say what I say so I can have a solid brand. He does speak English, but it's a bit hard to hear what he says, and anyway, it wouldn't really be my channel at that point.
Hello, I'm Thomas.
I know this is complicated and confusing, but I literally cannot see myself changing this at this point. This is just how things work around here. It's hard to describe his personality, but I see him as a bubbly, extroverted optimist who can sometimes get under the wing of some birds, but genuinely means well. He just wants to have fun. Thomas is not just a regular turkey, as he has funky coloration and a funky design. He has gone through quite a transformation, as this plush was what he was based on first. This is Tlurk the turkey, and all I can really say about his personality back then was that he was cool? I imagined him in MLG glasses a lot, if that counts. I think he was still extroverted, but really that's about all I got. You can see where Thomas got his hair / comb from, since that's not on actual turkeys, it's more of a chicken thing, but I really do like him with it, so it just stayed. And the coloration for his final design is pretty similar to the plush, but I mean, I love autumn colors, so it probably would have happened anyway. Eventually my mascot design changed to this, mostly just on Twitter because, well, you don't want to know what I was fighting for my life for on Twitter at 11 years old. But anyway, we've got this bird that's basically not a turkey at all. I think they look cool, though the eyes are questionable. I should have picked a different stupid shape. It had to change though, because this is just not a turkey. I am very happy with the design I have now for him. I think he is very cute, and I hope you agree. I'm also excited to share our other feathered friends that may join him in the commentary sort of videos, the ones in like this style soon, someday. Maybe, for instance, at 1,500 subscribers, I'll reveal someone. somewhere, something. I don't know, guys. Why are you talking? I don't know who you are. Stop talking to me. Anyway, on to... okay, now I will be talking about the characters that will be focused on for most of the video. 2 of these characters were introduced here in my 500 subscriber special, but these characters were made way back in 2023. The characters are Vincent Vermicelli and Jack Chantrell. Okay, I do need to address this. I am a furry, and if it bothers you, then I don't know how to help. It was inevitable since I was a fan of both My Little Pony and Sonic. Don't judge me, okay? Anyway, these are a duo of characters that I've had for a while. I love them, and I'm really excited to share their story with y'all. But first, who are they? Who are these? You've probably never seen them before. I've barely made videos for them. I hope this explains some of this stuff, because I love keeping stuff in my head and not sharing it and expecting people to care. Vincent Vermicelli, also known as Vinny or Vin, is a male ring-tailed von Sira, or mongoose, whatever you want to say, which are native to Madagascar, though I've always seen his nationality as French-American. Don't ask me how that works, or how close this world is to the human world, or even if places are called the same thing in this world. I just do not have those answers right now. He doesn't know how to speak French, though. He is, as of now, 25, with his birthday being on June 26, 2000. They do age normally, so this year Vinny will be 26. Currently in the story, he's living in an apartment with Jack, but he's lived with his parents for a long time before then. He used to struggle to obtain work and never went to college. He doesn't really know what he wants to do, and while cooking interests him, he's still a not great cook. He's been improving ever so slightly, though. He's somewhat extroverted, but tries to act quote-unquote normal to strangers. If you're his friend, though, he'll act the complete opposite. He's wacky, silly, and goofy, but very sentimental. While he can be a bit lazy, he's able to pick himself off the ground with a little help and get to work again. He definitely sees himself as a go-with-the-flow type guy, but he definitely doesn't mind structure. He often hides his feelings to make other people happy. His design was made in 2023 and has been changed like barely. He just kind of improves his looks with my improved art style. He has yellow eyes with orange fur that fades into a dark brown on his arms, legs, and slightly on his nose. He has a tan underbelly, inner ears, and eyebrows. He has a brown striped tail with a brown tip, kind of like a lemur. That's just how von Siras are. He has brown paw pads as well. He has obvious fluff on his ears, cheeks, and tail. I don't know why it's shaped like that, but it's just always how it's been, and I like it, so you're gonna have to like it. He also has an eyebrow slit. He just does, guys. There's no reason for it. It looks weird in my art style. I just physically cannot remove it. It just, the eyebrow, it won't grow back. It won't grow back. I don't know what he did to that. I have no idea. Compared to Jack, Vincent's fur is puffier, his body type is slimmer, and he himself is taller. He likes wearing t-shirts with patterns, shorts, and flip-flops, and he did not own any cold clothing until Jack got him a jacket recently. I just realized, jacket. It's very cool. Vincent's style is whack, but that's just how he likes it. So, that's Vincent for you. Jack Chantrell is a demi-male short-eared dog, which is not a domestic dog, just a wild fox-like mammal native to parts of South America. I've always seen his nationality as Latino American. He also doesn't know any Spanish, but he does try to learn it when he has time, and then, forgets it almost immediately. He's trying. He is as of now 25, with his birthday being October 8th, 2000. Currently, he is living in a house with Vincent. He went to nursing school for 2-ish years to become a nurse, but dropped out because of a culmination of issues. When he was younger, he lived with his mean father, but now he has no contact with him, mostly because he's dead, but Jack would have cut him off anyway. He's kind of lost at what to do now for a career, but he did very well in school and he still has a lot of options. And he's able to hold a job very well, as long as it's not very social. He has always been interested in music ever since he and Vin discovered Vocaloid, but never really thought of it as being a job, just musicianship in general, so he hadn't tried pursuing it yet. He will learn someday. Maybe. Jack is definitely the more introverted one of the two, going out of his way to ignore strangers unless Vinny somehow ropes him into a conversation. Even with friends, he's pretty quiet, but he has a sort of humor to him that draws people in. He is very strict on getting things done, and if required, he will make a list. He is very bad at picking up on other people's feelings, and he often hides his feelings to make other people happy. Wait, did I say that? already? Sorry, no, sorry. It's my bad. I got deja vu. His design was made before Vin, still in 2023, and has been changed a bit as well. He has magenta eyes with light gray fur that fades darker when you go from his limbs to his body. He has dark gray eyebrows, inner ears, and paw pads. Compared to Vincent, his fur is sleeker, his body type is bigger, and he himself is shorter. He has a deep green jacket with fluff on it, which is very sentimental to him, as he basically kept the same style of jacket his entire life. Usually he'll wear black t-shirts underneath it, but he does go out of this style sometimes, which Vincent could never do without encouragement. Still, he usually wears comfortable leggings and the cutest brown fluffy boots because there was not enough fluff in here. You love it. Enjoy it. Also he has glasses. I forgot to write that in, so I just added it at the end. Now for two side characters that I've never talked about on this channel before. I will probably mention a bit more characters than this when I talk about lore, but these are the ones I think about constantly and actually have designs for, and I mean, they're pretty important to the story, so. Olivia P. Macchiato is a T-female white-tailed deer, which are native to North and South America. She was born on September 5th, 1999, so she is 26 right now. I really do not stick with species origins, guys, because Olivia is Southeast Asian but born in the US, so she speaks fluent English and slightly fluent in Filipino, though I cannot really represent that. She just knows that, and you know that now. She lives with a roommate somewhere, probably. I haven't really thought about where or how she lives yet. What I do know is that she works at a cafe, which becomes an important plot point. And I promise that I'll give her and the other characters more importance when I flesh out the story later on. They are slightly underdeveloped right now, and I've been focusing on the men in the room for so long, so I apologize. She's quite a bit extroverted, but usually will go on outings with only one or two people. She's absolutely a problem solver and experimenter. She's funny and pretty creative, and all around just a good person. Just do not bring up her cringe middle school years, please. Her design was put on paper recently, but this deer has been floating around my mind for a while. She is a tall brown deer with a white underbelly and some freckles on her face that resemble when deer when they're younger, they have white marks on them. I don't have a script in front of me. I kind of made the design after I wrote this entire script, so this is kind of not good. Green eyes, cool outfit. I'm sorry, I just didn't have enough time. I'm sorry, just look at it if you can, and I'm sorry if you can't. I didn't have enough time. I need this video to get out on time. I'm sorry. Dr. Deborah Silas is a female Suffolk sheep, which are found everywhere but originate in the United Kingdom. She was born on January 28th, 1981, so she is 45 right now. Debbie is fully American. She lives with her husband and children about 2 states away from the rest of the characters, but as she taught Jack a bit in nursing school, she has closer ties than you would think. As her husband is a preacher, she is a very devout Christian, but please do not let that give you a bad opinion of her off the bat, as she is not someone who forces her beliefs or uses her beliefs to judge others. I'm not really Christian, by the way, but as my characters are kind of true to life besides the whole animal of it all, it makes sense to me to add different religions and cultures. She's usually quiet in casual places, but as a teacher, she definitely has communication skills. She's very kind, caring, and smart. Maybe not the best at solving conflict, as usually her ideas to fix things are very spontaneous and not very well thought out. Sometimes that works in her benefit, though. Her design was also put on paper recently, but I've been thinking about her before then as well. Again, I don't have enough time to write the script for this, but Deborah is a sheep with white wool but black fur. She is very modest, so she wears dresses a lot of the time that go down to her knees. That's just her style. Her eyes are like brown. That's it. Bye. Those are all the very important characters with designs. Again, I will be talking about other characters throughout, but these are the only ones with designs so far, and it will stay that way probably until I'm done with the pony project. So yay, yippee, woohoo! Okay, so timeline. So this timeline is definitely going to be simplified and probably changed as I learn more and more about how I want these characters to be. This will just be a basic overview. I think future me needs to learn what a basic overview is because, oh my god. As it would take a long time to say a full extensive timeline. But I at least wanted to share a bit of it because, like, none of you know the lore because I've been so stingy with it. So, here we go. On June 26, 2000, a wonderful baby by the name of Vincent Vermicelli is born to 2 loving parents and immediately becomes a mischievous handful. But still, his mom and dad did the best they could to take care of this fiend. They would try to socialize him, and while Vin acted 2 times as much crazy with other children, it was definitely good for him. But we'll get to that after another baby is born. October 8th, 2000, a wonderful baby by the name of Jack Chantrell is born to his mom and his dad, which was very unplanned. His mom left 2 months after he was born for some reason. I still gotta figure out whether she died or if she just ran away. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her yet. I just know it's always been 2 months after she's gone. So I don't know. So he was taken care of by his dad, who definitely taught him quote-unquote morals. It was definitely not the best environment growing up for him, but he was a very good kid because he was not allowed to be bad. His life wouldn't be all bad and boring though, as on April 5th, 2004, Vin was at the park in the early morning being watched by his mother as he tried to do cool things, like climbing up the slide. As no child was there at the time, his mother wasn't really worried. Then, and without any warning, a quiet gray-furred child started getting on the slide without thinking to check who was on the slide. Because why would a 3-year-old do that? There was no stopping him. Ow. Miraculously, Jack got hurt way more than Vincent did, which was good for Vin, but here's some voice acting for y'all. I don't want to do this, but I wrote it in the script, so this is what we're doing. Hey, I was on the slide, Vincent would yell before noticing that the other kid was crying because he was hurt. Uh-oh. Vincent would scream. Vincent always got scared when he himself was hurt, but apparently someone else getting hurt was on the same level. He would call for his mom, who was shocked that someone else was there, and she immediately looked for Jack's parents to inform them of his injuries. It was mostly just a few scratches from the sticks that Vin was collecting and placing beneath the slide, but nothing major. Still, she should let them know. Jack's dad wasn't paying attention though. He was listening to music on his iPod, but she finally got his attention. It was not good. He started yelling at both parent and child about what happened to his son. He was about to take Jack away when Vin's mom offered to bandage him. He reluctantly agreed and thankfully started to calm down. After Vin's mom was done, Jack's dad started to get up to go. But Vincent had other plans. We're going to play now. Bye-bye. No, sir. We are about to leave. We are going to play, he yelled, dragging a surprised Jack away, causing his dad to back down, and instead complained to Vin's mom about how horrible her son was and how horrible of a teacher she was, which obviously she didn't enjoy. She just sat, trying not to argue with the man, trying to let the boys play. Maybe at least they could have fun from the situation. The boys started to play a game Vincent invented called Super Tag, which was just regular tag, but whoever was it had to run really fast like a superhero, because all superheroes are really, really fast. Jack seemed to understand, but when it was his turn to be it, he never said Super Tag when he tagged Vincent. This was not correct. Vin tried to convince him to say it, but he just never did. In fact, had he said anything at all? Why don't you talk? Jack would just shake his head side to side, worried. Even with not being able to communicate as much as Vin hoped, they both still had a lot of fun. When they had to leave, Vincent asked his mom to make sure they could play again, but that was kind of difficult when Jack's dad seemed so unapproachable, so they never exchanged numbers. Vin would constantly ask about the boy who did not talk and the boy with the blue jacket, which his mom kept saying it was green, but Vincent did not believe her. That jacket was obviously blue. Even though they didn't see each other for a year, they would be surprised when they started school. On September 15th, 2005, it was both the boys' first day of school, at the same school, in the same class. They both couldn't believe it, especially Jack. Vincent always had a feeling his mom was lying when she said he might not see him again. And another surprise, Jack talked? Still not much, but Vin was so excited to finally hear his voice. Jack did actually know how to talk when they met, but he was made to feel that in most situations, it was probably better not to talk. He felt safe in this environment though. He'd excel, actually. Throughout the years of their schooling, Jack would excel in all subjects, while Vincent would be average on most things, besides history where he would do poorly. What a loser. Jack would visit Vincent's house when his dad allowed him to, and they would play together all the time. During their schooling, they would both discover 3 very important things. Jack found that he was very passionate about medical things, specifically being a nurse. Inspired by school nurses, Vincent's mom who bandaged his face the day they met, and just genuinely wanting to help people somehow in a meaningful way. He would always bring band-aids to school, which came in handy sometimes, as well as roleplay being a nurse all the time in the elementary school playground. Vincent personally thought everything about being a nurse was scary, but completely supported Jack. Jack being a nurse would also mean Vincent wouldn't have to mess with his own wounds, which was preferable. Another important discovery was Kaito. Yes, the Kaito. In 2013, Kaito appeared in a Vocaloid concert. You think these boys knew what a Vocaloid was? No, but somehow, they found a concert on YouTube and skipped around a bit until they saw him. Jack was transfixed on this blue-furred cat, as Kaito is not allowed to be a man in this universe, and Vincent was really interested in the whole thing too. They would both research Vocaloid and listen to Vocaloid songs. Jack definitely enjoyed it more than Vincent, and still does now, but it was a great bonding experience for both of them. And 3, Vincent loves ducks, whether they'd be the animal or the rubber counterpart. That's kind of it. They're his favorite animal. He just likes ducks. That's why he has a duck shirt on most of his examples. But he wears it like basically, well, not any pattern. That's stupid. He wears a lot of different pattern stuff. I kind of have to skip a lot of their friendship development to get to the parts I want to talk about here, but if I ever get moments in the future, I will try to show their friendship more throughout the ages instead of instantly going from being 4 to 13 to 18. Once we get closer to their high school graduation, though, fear started to settle in for the boys, especially Vincent. He still has no idea what he wants to do. Like, not a semblance of an idea. Even during talks about the future, it's hard for him to imagine not being in boring old school forever. He doesn't know if he wants to go to college, start working, or what. Definitely not go to the army, though. None of my characters will go to the army. That's boring. I'm sorry. And with his best friend leaving for nursing school, as he's going to a program that allows him to go ahead and start, instead of going to regular college and then going to nursing stuff, I think they exist from what I researched, unless my research lied, which I hope it didn't. I don't know anything about this stuff. I just know that's what he likes. That means he would be alone for a very long time. I mean, he made friends with other people at school, of course, but they weren't like Jack. He was always different. Anyway, Jack was worried about it too, but he knew in his heart that this is what he wanted to do, and nothing, not even his father who didn't support his nurse journey, was going to stop him. After high school graduation in 2018, Jack said a tearful goodbye to Vincent and made a journey to a different state to pursue his goals. Money was not that much of a problem due to his good grades, and he knew that the programs out of state would be better. Still, it's not like he wouldn't visit Vincent sometimes. That's a tongue twister. And they could always call, and now the story splits. Vincent was all alone now. Besides his parents, of course. They understood that he might need a few years to figure out what he wanted to really do, so he could stay home as long as someday soon he found work to help pay for things. Vincent tried to get jobs at first, but it seemed like all the jobs he could find, he was either unqualified for or had to quit early just because of the stress it caused, because he was never good enough. It just seemed more trouble than it was worth at a certain point, and most days Vincent would stay in his room, sleeping or watching TV, while his only contact with the outside world was going out to see the ducks that would sometimes show up in the backyard on rainy days. They weren't afraid of him, as he made sure to feed them the best food. Not bread, by the way. Either way, his solitude lasted for a month or two, but then his mother had enough of it. It was time to help. And what better way of helping your son than setting him up to a date with the nice lady at the cafe that you go to? Vince's father tried to convince her not to go through with it, especially because their son may not be into women like that, but Vince's mom knew that this was the right call. Not only does his dear work at the cafe so she could get Vin a job, she was always sweet and caring when she brought her coffee, so she'd be a perfect match for her sweet and caring son. So one night, Vincent was urged out of bed and made to put on a suit and tie that he wore at prom, and without any warning, he was on a blind date with a bewildered doe named Olivia P. Macchiato. 2 problems with this plan though. 1, Olivia was lesbian, and 2, Vincent probably wasn't straight either. It started out pretty awkward as neither of them really expected or wanted to be there that day. Olivia was told that she would be talking to Vincent's mom, not her glum son. Still, eventually Vincent said hi and they started to have a very awkward conversation until Vincent kind of admitted that he wasn't really looking for a date right now, that he was sort of put up to this by his mom. It probably wouldn't have been the right thing to say in the situation, but thankfully Olivia admitted that she wasn't really looking for his type either. After this admission, they started having a more casual, turned comedic, turned emotional conversation. Vincent really felt like he was being understood for the first time in a few months, and it felt like he got along with her very well. Olivia noticed, though, that he kept bringing up this one specific person. Your friend Jack, right? You said he was gone to go to nursing school? Vincent, surprised at this question, yeah, he's following his dreams. I'm so proud of him. It just sucks that he's so far away, you know? We talk a bit on the phone sometimes, but it's just never the same as in person. And it kind of feels like I'm distracting him, you know? I mean, he's going to accomplish so much one day, and I can't really get in the way of him anymore. I mean, I was so annoying in school. I always tried distracting him from schoolwork with something funner, but I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have that excuse. I just need to leave him alone. He'd probably be better without me. He had never really admitted his thoughts to himself, but now, hey, don't think like that, man. I really don't think he'd feel that way. I mean, you've been friends for so long, right? Close friends? He probably needs you just as much as you need him, because you obviously need him with how much you've been talking about him. I mean, should I even be here right now? I think someone else might need the seat a little more than me. Olivia would smirk. Vincent wouldn't return her enthusiasm, even though he probably would on a normal day. I just don't know. Well, how long has it been since you've seen each other in person? Like, since he left? Maybe you could both hang out in person for a day or two. I really think your worries are just from not seeing him for a while. I mean, that's how I felt about my long-distance girlfriend. Like, it's either I'm not doing enough to be a good girlfriend, or maybe she doesn't love me anymore, or was that joke I made stupid? And it's just constantly flipping. I'm sure when you see him in person, you'll feel much better. Just set something up, man. And so, Vincent tried, but he had no idea what was going on 7 hours away from him. Jack wasn't really alone, but he wasn't really with people either. Hey guys, bear with me. I have no idea how medical school or nursing school works, so if any of this is inaccurate, then whoops. This is its own canon. This is fan-made nursing school. This is not, I don't know, just bear with me. He was in a dorm with another guy, a cheetah, who completely ignored him, which is fine because he did the exact same, and they both respected each other's privacy. Jack had a very unrealistic plan to only talk to teachers and never the students. It's not like he was afraid of them, though that was a part of it, but Jack never really fancied talking, unless it was to Vincent, of course. He knew group assignments were on the horizon, though, so he had to do something. He tried talking to other students there, and usually only made quick conversation before excusing himself to go somewhere else. As long as he seemed nice, it would all be fine. Sometimes he wished he was a social butterfly so he wouldn't be concerned with anything like this. His teachers didn't really intrigue him, besides one, a middle-aged sheep by the name of Dr. Deborah Silas, who retired early from being a nurse as she found that being a teacher was more of a passion for her. And what better way to combine your passions than teaching the thing that you're interested in and studied so hard to learn? Jack loved how knowledgeable and passionate she was. She clearly cared about her line of work, and that really inspired Jack to continue working harder at first. Though his confidence over time started waning. He still hadn't really made a connection here, and while he could always talk to Vincent, and he did on the phone sometimes, Vincent wasn't here right now, and he couldn't bounce off medical terms on him to have him understand. All Vincent knew about medicine was that Band-Aids were good, and that grape-flavored medicine was made by the devil Satan himself. His words, not Jack's. Still, Jack couldn't make himself ask to be friends with anyone, especially now that friend groups had already formed. And even when people tried to be nice to him and maybe become friends, he just couldn't. He is worried that if he made friends with good people, he would just not be good enough for them. Most students were older and probably way smarter, he assumed. Even if not intellectually, emotionally. Jack had only had one close connection to someone his whole life, besides Kaito, if he counts. So he probably was completely emotionally immature compared to everyone, he thought. What if they judged him for crying under pressure like he did in class sometimes? I could go on with his fears because it's basically a textbook, afraid of meeting new people way of thinking to the extreme. Just like me, he's just like me for real. Every irrational bad thought he had about making friends would lead to a worse thought, and so on and so on. And nursing school itself is really stressful too, which added to it. At a certain point, he was wondering if this is even what he wanted to do anymore. He needed help, obviously, and Dr. Silas could see it on his face. So she decided to reach out to him over email. Something like, "Hey, Mr. Chantrell, I've noticed that your confidence is faltering when you've been in my class, and while you don't need to tell me anything, I wanted to reach out just in case you need some extra help with anything. If it's something unrelated to class, then do ignore this. Thank you, Dr. Deborah Silas. Yeah, even though she specifically asked for things class-related, Jack definitely dumped that and more on her, which he completely regretted after he sent it and deleted the email. She saw it still, though, and it made Deborah realize how serious this was. So, she decided to invite him over to her church, of which her husband was a pastor. Jack had never been brought up in any religion, so with nothing to expect, and since he had trusted Dr. Silas, he asked himself, why not? That shit was a mega church. Lights everywhere. Loud music. At least 2,000 people were in there feeling the Lord's goodness. Jack was not one of them. This was one of the scariest experiences of his life. Even if it wasn't a megachurch, it would still have scared him, but this was just more than anything he had expected. Deborah met him outside the church after the mass left, and she could immediately tell it was a mistake inviting him. Jack was so unfocused and obviously stressed. She knew that she had to make this right, and in a better way. So, she invited him to sit near the coast with her, as, of course, the church was right next to the ocean. He reluctantly agreed, but mostly just to get away from all the people. When they sat down near the waves, Deborah heartfully apologized to him, saying that she should have invited him to a smaller church or something, or maybe just talked with him individually to start with. Jack accepted her apology, but obviously he still had his reservations about continuing a conversation. They sat in quiet for a moment, and the only sound heard was the ocean waves. Deborah was looking out at the sea, unsure of how to help, when she turned her head and saw Jack start to cry a bit. She went to comfort him, but he stopped her. He was happy, somehow. It seems that the ocean had done a great bit to settle him down. He unprompted started opening up to her, discussing his fears about school, classmates, and him even being fit for the role of being a nurse. Debbie encouraged him to continue on, as he was barely a few months in, and I've noticed you keep bringing up a person who supported you for so long, but you haven't been able to see them, no? Jack would nod. Well, maybe you should reach out to them or go see them in person soon? I know that you say they know nothing about what you're going through, but would you not say that would be the same for them as well? You could both be going through a tough time and just not know it because of how distant you've been with each other. Go see them soon. I believe you'll feel better. Soon being the weekends. Don't go visit them during the week. You might get in trouble for that. Jack was thankful for her advice, and after he got to his dorm later that day, he got a call from someone. They would meet again the weekend after 4 to 5 months of not seeing each other. Unless the time's wrong, I think I wrote 2 months earlier. I don't know. It felt like everything was normal again, like they were teens again. They played games, chatted about Kaito and whatever else there was to talk about. Everything except for their issues, because what's the fun in that? Jack had only had limited time to be there anyway, so they had to make the most of it. They had a sleepover, and Vincent's mom made them cookies like always. It was just very comforting for them both. And then Jack said bye, and it was back to normal. Vincent would hang out with Olivia occasionally, and they would have a ton of fun together, but gradually, Vin would start going out less, and Olivia grew more and more worried, as she was already told of his struggles. She eventually told Vincent's mom about her worries, and Vincent's mom thought it was so sweet of her to say that she would not stop talking to Vincent's dad about it. She tried to get him out of the house, but it was just failed attempt after failed attempt. He wouldn't even make his own canned spaghetti anymore. This is not to say he was being lazy on purpose. He felt bad about it. He felt bad about everything. He felt like he was a burden to his parents, to his friends, because he still could not wrap his head around what he wanted to do. No job worked for him, and he didn't want to burden his parents with college payments if he didn't know what he even wanted yet. He couldn't bring himself to research anymore. I just can't anymore. Jack would continue to study as hard as he could, calling Vin less and less so he wasn't distracted, and so he wouldn't distract Vin with his emotions about his studies. He was getting less and less passionate though, not just because of his loneliness, but was he just interested in medicine? Was that it? What other opportunities did he miss just because he had a one-track mind? He denied it for so long, but learning medicine was just not fun anymore. He still wanted to help people, but was this really the way he could help? And why would he want to help people if he avoided them like the plague? No pun intended. Nothing in his head was making sense. He contacted Deborah again, as they had been maintaining slight contact sense, of course, because she's a teacher to him too, so that would make sense. I don't know why I included that. He thought she would just convince him to keep going, but Jack, I understand you don't want to change your mind now, especially because you've wanted this all your life. But to me, you're clearly not happy. Maybe you're bored of the curriculum, or maybe this environment isn't the best for you. I don't know. But if you feel like you'd be better in something else, then I'd say follow your heart, Jack. Not that my opinion should matter much to you, but I am proud of you, Mr. Chantrell. And I always will be. If you ever need to talk to me again, please email me. Thank you, Dr. Deborah Silas. P.S. You should probably talk to your friend about this too. I know you don't like distracting him, but you became friends for a reason. He'd probably want to know. Jack had made up his mind then and there. He was going to go. And after he was sure that he had everything packed, he looked around his old dorm room and left. Before he got into his car, though, he heard someone yelling in the parking lot. It sounded like his name, but Jack is such a common name, right? No way it was for him. After he got on the road, he noticed in his rearview mirror that there was a cheetah running behind his car. They were even calling his name. Jack was going to drive away faster, as they thought they had no idea who this guy was, but eventually they saw that he was carrying a green jacket, the same green jacket that he had always worn in the past, though he hadn't worn it for about 2 years at this point. He pulled over to the side of the road and apologized deeply for the trouble. He got his jacket back and said thank you and goodbye to the stranger, who he eventually figured out was his roommate? Okay, now he's going back. There was just a little bit of a detour. Vincent's mom heard a doorbell ring on a sunny spring day, almost 2 years after the boys graduated high school. She opened it, expecting her delivery of canned spaghetti for her son, when she saw Jack again after almost a year and a half, and struggled to articulate anything. When she finally had her bearings, she yelled for Vincent. He didn't answer until she said that he, Jack, was back. It took him a while to get downstairs, not with a lack of trying. He was just so bewildered. His now weak frame probably didn't help either. So unsure. Was this really happening? He got to the bottom of the stairs and looked out in front of the door, and he saw him. The same gray-furred, magenta-eyed dog with the same jacket. Always the same jacket. He got a burst of energy for the first time in a year, jumping up to hug the man. Jack was happy to see him too, but it wasn't obvious just because he had so much on his mind. He thought, have I lost everything I've built up for so long? Vincent was close to fainting after running, but thankfully his health and mood had improved as quickly as possible with Jack back, especially because he stayed there since, well, his dad wasn't really alive anymore to house him. It felt like he had a reason again. He obviously knew Jack was upset, but he never heard him say that he quit school or the reasons why. It was just too much for him to say. Vin didn't push him, though. Vin tried to play with him, like always, and while Jack sometimes participated, it wasn't often. And if he did, it wasn't in full force either. Vincent was very patient, which was out of character for him, but with his past experience, he could wait a lifetime before knowing as long as he was with Jack. Vincent sometimes worried that, like he believed in the past, that he was just burdening Jack, but he tried to enjoy the moment and not let that get to him. One day, Vincent's mom yelled for them to come downstairs. Vincent was nervous that she'd kick them out or something, even though she probably would be fine with them staying forever. Not his dad, though. They gotta get out of here soon. She pointed outside the kitchen window, and they both saw 2 stupid-ass ducks playing in a puddle of water that had built up over the summer rains. Vincent convinced Jack to go outside with him, and they both sat, watching the ducks. He didn't feed them, as they had ran out of duck food since Vincent stopped going outside, and Vin was not about to poison the ducks with bread. It was a very calm, not very sunny day, which brought Jack back to the day he was on the beach with Deborah. A completely different size of the body of water, but it just felt calming again. Jack noticed Vinny kept sneaking glances at him, wondering if he would finally say what happened to him. Jack hesitated, but he knew he'd have to share one day. He told him everything that happened, how he had quit nursing school, and how, well, he doesn't really know how to interact with people without Vin. Vincent nodded and was obviously listening to everything he said, but now he had realized he hadn't told Jack, well, really anything about what he'd been through. He just kind of assumed that Jack didn't notice the condition he was in when they saw each other again. Well, Jack kept glancing at Vincent now, so it was his time to share too. It was a very tearful, emotional, calm summer day. And after that, they finally started to be more honest with their feelings, be it negative or positive. After that day, they finally started to be more honest with their negative feelings. It wasn't all negative, of course, but it finally felt like they could share everything with each other again. Maybe it is strange how close they were, and how they both can imagine a day apart from each other, but this is how they feel and how they still are now. Thankfully, they aren't still living in Vin's parents' house anymore, as they finally got a horrible apartment thanks to Jack and Vincent somewhat finally getting jobs. Also, Vincent's parents helped pay for it a bit, but Vin's dad made his mom promise not to give them any more money at a certain point, and miraculously, she listened. Jack and Vincent will go to the cafe almost every day, talking to Olivia while they're there, who Jack gets along great with too. Then go their separate ways to work, and then finally go home. So kind of a normal and boring situation. Jack still keeps in touch with Deborah too, and she's visited with her husband a few times, though Jack doesn't really know why at this point. Their apartment is, well, it's an apartment with 2 men in it, so it's a little dirty. Besides that, life's just been pretty normal, pretty okay. There have been special events, like Jack and Vincent finding a curled up pangolin child on the mall floor and trying to find his parent, with Vincent becoming his guardian angel because he played with the child, even though Jack did most of the work finding the parents. But maybe, even while I'm working on the pony project, I'll be able to show off small stories like that, because that's a very, very basic explanation of that story. My main concern was getting all of this lore out, and I finally wrote it out. It's not exactly perfect, and it's probably not a good representation of anything serious, but this is just what I've been building in my head for over the years. The relationship was probably not the healthiest, but it was written worse. It was way worse, and I'd say that they have a completely healthy relationship now. Speaking of relationships, they're totally gay. Vincent finally came to terms with that and admitted his feelings to Jack after super intense convincing by Olivia to go through with that. And while Jack had no idea how to react at first, because he never even toyed with the idea of love, he came to terms with how he felt a day after. It was always there, he just didn't know how to articulate it. I'm saying that this confession happened sometime last year in 2025. I don't have a clear date. You'll be okay. They're not married yet, and it'll probably be a while before they are, depending on what I do. We'll see how the story goes. Whew, okay, that's the basic lore, guys. The basic lore. I hope y'all enjoyed when I got a little less basic in my explanations, because that was my favorite part. I just had to cut out some explanations short because I need time to finish the rest of the script too. And speaking of the rest of the script, whoa, transition, whoa, oh my god, I really like Wikipedia. This seems completely unrelated to this topic, but it's not, I promise. I looked up list of mammals on Wikipedia back in January 2023 and basically trying to find the most interesting animals I could find that I had never heard of before. Then I found a short-eared dog. Now, I don't think they're really interesting now. They're literally kind of just like a wolf fox thing. But back then it really excited me to find this creature, so I decided to draw one. In a green jacket with a fluffy neck thingy that was based off one I had in my childhood that I severely miss, and that I bought a new version of because I love it so much. I don't know why. I have such a connection to this hoodie. I'm not sure if magenta and dark green is the best color combo, but it will not change. So this is the first instance of me drawing Jack. I must have tried to draw him a friend as I started a sketch in February 2023, trying to emulate the same style, but now with a new animal, the ring-tailed Von Sierra, I gave up. Then in November 2023, I tried again, but with both of them in the same drawing. And so, Vincent was born. With a white t-shirt and a blue apron, his main thing was that he wanted to be a chef, but he didn't know how to cook. And while I still think it's funny, his character is more real to me now, so I have given him some cooking abilities gradually. He also loves canned spaghetti, if you couldn't tell. And then from there, I just kept drawing them. They're stupid little things, and I love them. And now I feel like you can finally understand them more. There's still a lot of stuff I'm keeping in my head, like the AUs, but that would take too long to explain. So, yeah. I also created a journal that both of them owned. They would take turns writing in it and then read what each other wrote and respond to it. I don't think it's canon anymore. It's a cute idea. I really do like the idea, but I feel like they would only have one when they were older, not younger, as Vincent would never write willingly. Jack would, but he also wouldn't be allowed to have that, so I don't know how that would work. I'll let you see the pages, but let me reiterate, this is not canon anymore. Some rules on fan art, they're basically the same for my Pony Sekai project, except just like a few less, because I don't have to deal with actual artists on this, because all of this art is me. I allow fan art and fan content with my characters as long as you follow these rules. No not safe for work content, please. While these characters are adults, do not make not safe for work content of them. This includes like inappropriate content, basically. I am not personally comfortable with that, and I'm also a minor at this point. And even when I turn into an adult later this year, I created these characters when I was a minor, so I'd really appreciate no not safe for work content. Thank you. Do not use AI in making fan content. That would be rude. Thank you. Do not steal my characters and claim them as your own. Don't repost my art claiming it as yours. If you do make fan art, please say that the characters are mine. Thank you. And lastly, do not use any of these characters to spread hate of any group. Thank you. Thanks. That's all I have to say. I really hope y'all enjoyed hearing more about my characters, even if I did have to cut a lot out. And I hope that you like them. I'm sorry I won't be able to make content about them much during the Pony Sekai project, but I am really determined to continue the Pony Sekai project. I'm really passionate about it, and I figured at least making this would give them a proper send-off while I focus on this. And I hope this was an interesting and good video, because I know the visuals aren't probably interesting, but I am really, really proud of the script. And that's all that matters in a video, right? You don't care about visuals. Anyway, good night, goodbye, bye-bye-bye!